Especially with inflation, you see that costs are going up more, but you're not making more necessarily. You're so is it time to raise your fees? What about going all cash? How do you make that decision? This is Chen Yen, your 6 and 7 figure practice makeover mentor at introvertedvisionary.com and your host of our Cairo Secure show today. So let's have this conversation about what you're charging, what are the possibilities there? When is it, what are some considerations about raising fees? And when is a good time to raise your fees? What about going all cash? What are some considerations there? And if you've thought about going all cash but haven't pulled the trigger yet, how can you pull the trigger without feeling concerned that patients will just leave and you'll be left with fewer patients? So first, let's have a conversation about your fees. Now, one mistake that I often see that chiropractors make when it comes to fees is thinking that people will pay you what you think they will pay you based on your feelings about what you would pay. So the truth is that people will pay what they will pay, and it doesn't have anything to really do with you and what you think you will pay for something. So that's one big distinction and click to make about deciding on fees. The other thing is that, and what I've also noticed is that if you are concerned that people won't pay the fees and you really don't feel like what your services what you're offering is worth that, then if you do raise your fees, it could backfire because you might have these feelings of I shouldn't be really be charging this. I'm afraid of this, and guess what? People can sense that. People could smell it from a mile away that you don't feel confident about your fees. So even if you share those fees, then uh, they might not they might tell you it's too expensive, and then you will just tell yourself that, well, it is too expensive, and so I should not be have raised my fees, or maybe I should lower my fees again. Right. Whereas if there's another chiropractor just like you, even in the same town, who is confident about what they're charging and what their value is, and they talk about this is our fees, uh, that's it could actually that the potential patient would feel that and sense that and still work with them. So, and interestingly enough, I've thought about this too before, where I've experienced this myself, or I've seen other people experience this. Where have you ever had this experience where you told someone that, oh, that's too much, and I can't afford it, or that's too expensive, right? And then you talk to another person about that same service, they quoted you even more, and then you decided it was totally worth it and you paid even more to go work with someone else. Has that ever happened to you before? I know it's happened to me before, and it's happened to our clients before too. So our chiropractor clients before. So that's one thing to keep in mind, that decisions aren't made just by simply the fee itself. So the other thing to keep in mind is maybe you're basing what you're charging on what other people are charging in your area. And this is also a common mistake I see, where oh, I can't possibly be charging outside of this range, because then other people, when they call around, they're going to find out that those people charge that, and then I'm significantly higher, so then they're not going to want to come see me. And the thing is, there are really only three factors that determine what you could charge and get. What do you think they are? So the first is your confidence level, what you have to offer, which we just talked about right now. Two is, how are you talking about the value so that they see that value in and are willing to pay you for that? And then three is, are you in front of people who really need what you have to offer and have a need right now? And if those factors are in place, then you could easily charge what you'd like and get it. So if you're concerned about, like, if you have this inkling of desire to raise your fees, but you've been holding yourself back, you haven't pulled the trigger, then consider which one of those three areas do I feel more um, weak in or not in alignment with? And get in alignment first. And then you can totally raise your fees. Because what's the worst thing that can happen? Worst thing that can happen is that perhaps you aren't getting as many people booking appointments, and then maybe you end up tweaking your fees again, maybe lowering it. But if you could really just own your the value that you're truly providing for patients, then you could charge what you'd like and get it. And how do you determine when to raise your fees? So I would say that if you are feeling, if it crosses your mind that gosh, expenses are going up, my costs to with equipment or different things, and within the practice are going up, my costs for hiring and all this stuff and having staff has gone up, then that's a good time to consider raising your fees. Or you've just been feeling like it's time to raise your fees. Um, and and then as if you're out of alignment with what you would like to charge, like let's say you would like to bump up your fees by a certain amount, but then you're not fully owning that, then maybe uh, do a little bit of inner work first before you actually raise your fees. Now, as far as the a couple other things to think about with fees is we often think of fees as more of a one-sided way of looking at fees. Like, are my visits really worth it? What will they look at it as, okay, so I'm charging this much and it's only taking 5 minutes for the adjustment, and that they're going to feel like, oh, that's so much money, right? Like I go see a doctor for an hour, a medical doctor for an hour, and I pay them this copay of XYZ, or I pay them this, and then I'm only seeing you for 5 minutes, and you're charging me that for an adjustment or a functional medicine visit. If well, that's not as good an example for those of you doing functional medicine, but as we tend to think of fees in that way, as far as our visits worth it. What we don't often think about is what you charge is also a reflection of how people will value it. So have you ever thought about how when they are paying you for this, there's an energetic exchange, and through that energetic exchange of what they value, they put up as an energetic exchange as a reflection of what they value. They actually benefit from it being that level of energetic exchange for them as well. So instead of just looking at it as a an idea of it is my 5 minutes worth for someone, and or I might be charging too much, like look at it also as, what the benefit they will receive from you owning your value, and then them putting towards the energetic exchange of money to in reflection of the value. And then, for those of you who are concerned about, wait, this, but I want to make it affordable and I don't want to charge too much and that kind of thing. Certainly, you need to be in alignment with your own philosophy of practicing, and so kudos to you for whatever that is for you. And at the same time, consider, what do they have to compare it with? Your chiropractic adjustment, which is whether it's $25, $50, $100, right? Versus the wasted amount of time spent at medical doctors' offices when they can't figure out what's going on with them, and giving them these bagfuls of medications and still not working, and it's actually damaging for the body, or they're just not getting better, and maybe even having side effects, or what, more suffering with their health if they didn't actually see you, or having to resort to surgery when you could have helped them avoid surgery. What is it worth it to them? What is it worth to them to help them avoid surgery? What is it worth to them to not be in that suffering every day? What is it worth to them to not have to take time out of work and spend all that time, wasted time, going to doctors' offices and still not having answers? So that's another way to look at it. And then as far as raising your fees or deciding to go all cash in your practice. So, how many of you have thought about going all cash in your practice because you're tired of the headaches of insurance reimbursement situation and all this paperwork and the hassles and then sometimes playing this cat and mouse game and so much back and forth and then sometimes not even being paid. And then did you know, and I'm sure many of you do, and some of you might have even encountered this, but insurance companies can even change things down the road and then ask you for your payments back, like in terms of the reimbursements back, and then you're out that money. Not to mention that when you get paid so late, you're basically fronting the like the money within your practice because you're getting paid so late. And so all this can create stress and headaches. Even if you wanted to make it available, insurance available for, like, be on insurance to make it available for patients, because people have insurance, it'd be nice for you to allow them to be able to use it. At a certain point, you might hit this tipping point in your practice where you just feel like this is just not worth the time and energy. I would like to be spending this time and energy instead on treating patients, on helping my patients, and not be restricted to where you need to feel like you need to justify why you're doing certain things with your patients and having to file tons of paperwork to get it justified. Why not have your patients, why not attract patients who appreciate the care you're giving them, the recommendations you're giving, and they're just willing to even pay out of pocket. So for some of you, that may make a lot of sense. For some of you, you may still choose to stick with insurance, and that's totally fine too. You need to practice in a way that feels in alignment with you and your philosophy. But for those of you who have an interest in going all cash, but then maybe you've been concerned about pulling the trigger because you might feel like, well, if I go all cash, then, and especially since I've been accepting insurance, I'm going to lose all my patients. They're so used to just having their insurance pay for this. And the thing about it is that you're right in a way, in the sense that you might not retain 100% of your patients. However, if you are a good doctor, if you also are able to differentiate yourself well from other chiropractors in your area, and people have that connection with you, there is still a high possibility your existing patient base will follow you and then be paying you cash as well. So, how many of you have insurance yourself for your own healthcare? And the thing is, when you have insurance, certainly everybody would love to use insurance, right? Because you paid for it. But what people, let's say, look at the psychology of people who pay cash. People who pay cash usually are, they're interested in a particular expertise perhaps that someone has, or that they like the service. Maybe it's faster service, right? Or maybe it's just better service, and then they're willing to pay cash for it. So just because they have insurance and they would prefer to use insurance doesn't mean that they won't pay cash for their health. So instead of assuming, or instead of feeling like whenever somebody says to you, "Oh, do you accept insurance?" and then you just automatically think, "Oh shoot, they're gonna not want to pay cash." Instead of thinking that way, look at how can you differentiate your practice so that people see you as a go-to practitioner, as a go-to chiropractor who really knows what they're doing, and it is so much worth going to see you than making sure that they just make sure that their insurance covers it. So when you are seen as someone who is e- an expert or a specialist, or really good at what you do, a go-to chiropractor in your area, then you won't have to worry about raising your fees and then people dropping off because you raised your fees, or people dropping off because you went all cash. There are plenty of chiropractors out there with all cash based, with a completely cash based practice, and have a full patient load. We have clients, we've helped many clients over the years transition from an insurance-based practice to a cash-based practice successfully. And every single one of them who has done it has said, oh, I'm so glad. I wish I did this earlier. And so it's just a matter of having a few key things in place before you transition to all cash. So that way you are bringing in patients willing to pay you cash. And then one great way of doing this is, as far as getting known more as a go-to chiropractor in your area, is to be, because one reason why people may not be coming to your practice, whether is because they may not know about you or how you can help them, and they might not see you as the go-to chiropractor in your area too. One great way to be able to move that process along faster, so that you don't have to be posting constantly on social media, or feeling like you have to do all this kind of marketing, or feeling like you need to be running ads and spending all this money that you don't really want to spend, and you just want to focus on helping people. So instead of doing all that, you could just focus on one main thing. What is it? It's to be educating people, whether it's virtually or in person, by speaking. And I know what you're thinking, because some of you might think that, well, when you hear the word speaking, it just feels like such a big thing, right? It's like, oh, I don't know about that. I don't know about speaking to more than one person at a time. I prefer one-on-one relationships, and connection and communication, but I don't know about speaking in front of a group of audience. That intimidates me, or it just feels like a lot of work. But the thing about it is that it's just a great way to leverage your practice, instead of reaching one person at a time, or feeling like you need to go to networking to meet one person at a time, or having money go out the door because of having to spend money on ads to get visibility, or SEO to get visibility. It's like, what if instead you educated people about one main topic, so creating one talk that educates them about the benefits of chiropractic, or how you can help them. And then that way people will start coming to you. They will see you as a go-to practitioner, instead of trying to just get people's attention. And so for those of you who have an interest in getting that, like, well, how do you get that going without feeling like you need to be doing a lot of work, right? And how do you get it going by even being able to sit comfortably from your own home, and reach more people at once? And You could go to www. So this is a free masterclass I'm doing on this, on how to attract new patients virtually, and by educating them. And that that way you could just be getting more consistent patients, and even raise your fees or go all cash without having to worry about it. So you can go to www.getbookedspeaking.com/virtual. Again, www.getbookedspeaking.com/virtual. And I'll make sure to pop it in below in the comment section or in the chat. And then, one thing to think about is also, for those of you who might think, well, do I really want to be doing that? What do these people have in common? Dr. Josh Axe, Dr. Mark Hyman, or think about some of the people in the chiropractic profession you really look up to. What do they all have in common? I venture to say that most likely what they have in common is that they speak. They started out speaking, and they still speak. For example, we have a client of ours who was a patient of Josh Axe, Dr. Josh Axe, and then he said, "Oh yeah, I I know this speaking thing works," because that's how he built up his practice when he had a brick and mortar practice. And guess what? He still speaks right now, even though he has a very successful online business. He still speaks. Why? Or same thing as Dr. Mark Hyman, right? He still speaks. Why does he still speak when he's very successful? Because it's one of the most effective ways to reach more people at once and get seen as a go-to chiropractor, as a go-to practitioner, so people come to you. So with that, you're welcome to go to www.getbookedspeaking.com/virtual. and check out the free masterclass. Happy to help you on and share with you the exact things that our clients are doing that are bringing a consistent flow of patients and even another stream of income through speaking. And then for those of you who are at a place in your practice where you're at a plateau and you just know you're capable of so much more and you would love to grow faster with less stress, or you would like to have more time freedom in your practice, then reach out to us. Check out introvertedvisionary.com, and happy to see how we can help you grow faster. Until next time.